73 was a bit lackluster. I believe there was a lot of commentary in this chapter that wasn't necessary. And, whether we're talking about the stuff that we already know, Boruto has these weird moments where it's like you feel the pacing is great, things are moving along, and then it just goes to a complete standstill. And it isn't for the sake of, well, we need to flesh out the story, see where all the characters at. I feel chapter 73, everything that went on from the interactions with the whole entire squad, Boruto, Sarada, Shikamaru, this all could have been cut maybe 7 chapters at the most, really. 7 chapters at the most, it could have been cut. It could have just been a simple, hey, here's your mission. We already know that Ada is in love with Boruto. Not in love. With Kawaki. She's infatuated with him. The fact that Boruto and Kawaki are immune to her abilities. We've already been through this multiple times. And now the fact that we have to sit through it again for the squad to understand the mission. It's like, this could have been something, hey, Shikamaru, tell him, hey, she got a crush on you, bop, bop, boop. Maybe do a panel of like the mission paper. That way we all understand it. I sort of understand the emphasis on this to let Ada know, like, I understand you're listening to us. I understand you listening to us. And for the most part, you know our plan. I'm going to let him know, but also understand by me saying this, we're going to be keeping our eyes on you. So Shikamaru, a bit of a power play by having Kawaki and Boruto make sure like, hey, Ada, she's into Kawaki. Make sure whatever happens, she falls in love with this man. I want you to get her that ring. Get her that ring. Do whatever you got to do. Don't break her heart. Don't be a heartbreaker. And at the same time, this is us keeping her on check. This is Kawaki Boruto being the surveillance, the squad surveilling them, and then other miscellaneous Hidden Leaf ninjas just keeping tracks of how everything's going. A couple things going from there. Privacy. I believe privacy is going to take a major dip when it comes to Ada interacting with Kawaki or Boruto. And that might be an issue that eventually she wants to get away from. Secondly, Boruto and Kawaki putting this effort to please her and make her fall in love and don't do anything that she's going to be disinterested or potentially destroy the village, is not going to work out. I think we could all say we will see this coming from a mile away, just because it's the fact that they're not infatuated with her because of her abilities that she's attracted to them. Because everybody else is, I know you in love with me, but that's mainly because of my abilities, not the fact that y'all actually like me. So we're going to see the double-edged sword that's going to come along with that, which is going to make some interesting conflict. Now, before I continue on with chapter 73, in the previous chapter, we have Cold going to the Jubi, dividing the Jubi up into individual Jubis. And honestly, it just reminded me of the end of Shippuden when they were with the White Zetsus. Or even then, the Jubi, when it split up there, it's boring. It's boring because if we don't get any unique abilities out of these Jubis, out of these 10 tails individually, and they're just going to be powerhouses, similar to like the Nomus in My Hero. Well, technically Naruto did it first. We've seen it before. We've seen it done again. We finally reach a point of Boruto where the enemies are actually quite interesting. Whether we're talking about Ada's brother, with the fact if you have an intent to kill him, it gets reflected back. Ada with her own abilities to make anybody fall in love with her. We have a good amount of creativity going on. Cold with the claws is also pretty dope as well. So now to have just sort of these brute forces, until we see more of them, just coming back out, clones of each other, sort of giving that white Zetsu atmosphere we had in the War arc, I feel it was a cop-out. I feel it's like, all right, let's just throw some filler in there. That way we can have more characters interacting with them. That way we could get everybody involved. Because we're at a point, for the most part, viewing Boruto, viewing Kawaki, even Shikamaru, y'all saw him. He retired, went straight to the massages. You're not going to be doing any damage. And realistically, a lot of people should be dead when they're in these fights. But then they're just going to stand on the sidelines, put their jerseys on, Boruto jerseys, start, I don't know, celebrating, throwing fireworks, whatever the case is, while people are getting Chidori through the chest. That's where I see them implementing this. So for me, it's just like, be expecting a couple moments where people are fighting. They're fighting the Jubis to show off their power-ups, and they're not going to be that strong. Now, towards the end, There was a moment where Momoshiki appeared right next to Boruto whenever Kawaki, what Boruto was next to Kawaki. And that sort of spooked me just because it came out of nowhere. Lower left panel, page 38. Boruto's looking by, Momoshiki's looking. Kawaki notices. Not only that, so does Sasuke. But Naruto doesn't. Now, could it be that Naruto is because Naruto doesn't have the Nine Tails anymore? Yes. Come on, man. This man's a Hokage. We got Sage Mode mastered at the least, and not being able to sense Momoshiki, there's a little bit, I'm having a gripe with that. Sasuke, knowing Momoshiki's presence, and it's still reminding him about a particular day. Not Momoshiki in general, but this feeling is similar to that day. I wonder. I'm more curious about that. I can't recall that specific manga panel and what Sasuke was, what he was doing. But the fact that it's going back to one day, what does this mean as far as the Momoshiki-Boruto dynamic? What's going on as far as their DNA? And I don't know if it is foreshadowing, but seeing Sasuke with the Rinne Sharingan in the past, it was a bit of a teaser. It almost felt like, okay, he still has it. Like he moved his hair, the Rinne Sharingan is there, but I feel it's foreshadowing that his eye, even though he got stabbed, bleeding, murked, on the sidelines, flag on the field, coach, give him some Gatorade, he's going to be okay. So overall, to recap Boruto chapter 73, we slow things down to a terrible, terrible pace. There's a lot of regurgitated information that us, the viewers, already understood, but having to see the characters catch up on that, it sort of feels like I'm the main protagonist, and now I'm like, all right, Shikamaru, catch him up, because we already up to speed. We up to speed, and everybody else having to painfully understand. All right. And again, we could have condensed this whole entire chapter into maybe 5 pages monologue, honestly, of, all right, here's some mission. This is what we need to do. From there, we could have went on to Boruto, Kawaki, Naruto, Sasuke with the whole present sort of fact, Naruto not acknowledging it, Sasuke is, maybe give a little bit more information on there. However, we don't get everything panned out the way we want. All right, we already got two out of the topics for the episode. We're going to be going over to an interesting stat. Saw this posted. Yeet surpasses over 10 million Spotify listeners. Real big numbers over the past, 2 to 3 years. I don't want to say from zero, maybe a couple hundred. I haven't been there since the beginning. But, from whatever to 10 million, it's crazy, especially doing this independent. I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure Yeet is independent, but surpassing over 10 million Spotify listeners. That's some crazy numbers, y'all. I don't know if you're listening to Yeet. If you are, which project you bumping right now? Which tracks are you enjoying? I'm still listening to Up To Me as my regular go-to Yeet project. Up To Me just has a special place in my heart. And that's an interesting step for Yeet. We here for the single. What is singles? Freddie Gibbs, Rabbit Vision coming in at what? What was that? They're not gonna give me the proper time on here, and so they're gonna give me this 30 seconds. I got y'all. I enjoy doing these podcasts like this. Before I would have the reviews a lot more structured. I also appreciated that too. But having this feeling like a live stream, I'm just trying to make something good out of this. You don't understand how much maybe you do. It irks me whenever I have things planned, but whenever it's time to actually speak about it or do it for whatever reason, something pop out. Okay, coming in at 3 minutes